You can hear me. Can you kindly drop a message in the chat? Drop a message in the chat if you can hear me. The day is finally here. Ooh. I'm so excited. I'm so grateful to God that we finally made it to today. So if you can hear me, can you kindly drop a message in the chat section? I see my brother is here. Thank you for joining. Yes. We are live. We are live. Okay. Okay, I see Bridget. Join in. Can you kindly drop where you are joining us from? Let me know where you are joining us from. Today is an exciting day, and I'm super grateful to God that we are having a day like today. Okay, Bridget is joining us from University of Ghana. Beautiful. Okay, so you're all welcome once again. Yeah, so I want us to share the link. We can share with a friend, let them know that we are starting. We can share with a friend, let them know that we are starting. Share with a friend, share with a friend, share with a friend, share with a friend. Oh, glory to God. You're all welcome. Yet again, I'm Dr. Bernice Agyemang Prempeh, and I'm super grateful to all of you for your support, your messages. I do not take them for granted at all. And I'm really grateful to God that we are doing this today. And I want to welcome each and every one of you to this amazing and incredible meeting that is about to unfold. I want you to drop in the chat where you are joining us from. Let me know how far we are going with this live stream. Just drop in the chat where you are joining us from. Oh, I see my brother here, Prince Agyemang. Thank you so much. Love you too. Thank you so much for the support. I deeply appreciate it. Okay, I see many more joining in. As you join, can you drop in the chat where you are joining us from, the States, and also you can drop in your country as well. So maybe you are from Kumasi, Ghana, Enugu State, Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, Chicago, USA, wherever you're joining us from. I want to know where you are joining us from tonight as we are about to have this amazing conversation. Thank you. Okay, so I want each of us to copy the link and share it on our statuses. Let us reach out to a friend to come on board, right? As you can see from our background and flyer, today is all about celebration, and I decided to do this here because this is not just about me, it's about every single one of us who have made today possible. So that's why we are having today as a celebration. I see you, Diane. Okay, so let's keep dropping in the chat where you are joining us from. I want to know where each of us are joining us from, your state and your country. Your state and your country. Let me know where you are joining us from this evening. Okay, so as I said earlier, today is going to be an open Q&A session. Then we would have our lunch of our very first ebook. I call it our because I believe that this journey has not just been because of my drive, my purpose, or my determination to write this book. It has been about each and every single one of us here. So that's why I keep using our ebook because it's for all of us. It's for each and every single one of us who have made today possible. Okay, so I just want to spotlight all of you. That's why I want you to drop in the chat section where you are joining us from. I want to spotlight each and every single one of you joining me here this evening. So if you can hear me, just let me know where you are joining us from. Okay, so because I don't want us to waste any more time, today is celebrating 24,000 plus followers on LinkedIn, and seriously, I am just besides myself about this. Okay, Diane says the line keeps breaking. Can anyone else kindly confirm for me? Is the line breaking or it's clear? Can I get some feedback from other people on the call if they are having a similar challenge? Okay, so as I was saying earlier, today is really okay. Bridget said yes please, it's clear, and my brother also said it's currently clear. Okay, so probably maybe it could be some network glitch at Diane's end. Yeah, so Diane, let me know when it goes through. Okay, it's clear now. Okay, good. So as I was saying earlier, today is really a day I'm very much grateful to God and to every single one of you for making this possible. Trust me, when I say that this journey is not just celebration of the numbers, I really mean it when I say it's not just because of the numbers, because it has been a journey of a lot of faces and a lot of aspects, and I'm so grateful that I get to be able to experience something like this, as David would say, in the land of the living, right? So we celebrated our 24,000 plus followers on LinkedIn, and I decided to have the lunch alongside the celebration because I recall when I put out the notice that I was starting to write this ebook about 3 weeks or so ago on LinkedIn and other social media outlets, I was roughly around 23,000. And God being so good, just when I finished writing the book, we had crossed, not just even reached 24,000, but we had reached and crossed 24,000. So I just felt it was so significant to have such dual celebration alongside. So that's why we are having this celebration today. And I added the open Q&A because I believe a lot of people have questions they would want to ask. Yeah. So there was a Google form that was actually circulated around. I don't know how many of you actually saw it. So we had a couple of questions, a lot of questions actually. So I'll be going through the questions that I had from the Google form. I really didn't want to prepare so much, so I made sure that I just checked out the questions just some few minutes before we actually started this live stream, right? So these are the questions I got from the Google form that we circulated for about 2 days now. But if you are joining us here and you would want to ask a question, just drop it in the chat section, right? If you would want me to address any question, if you have any question for me, drop it in the chat section. But I'll begin by answering the questions that were sent. Then we'll talk about the ebook, right? Why I wrote the ebook, the inspiration behind it, the title of the ebook. So I actually did a video on the title review, but I'll still echo it again, and then I'll let you know how you can get access to the book for as many of you that would want to get access to it. Is that great? Is that great? Okay, excellent. So the very first question that I had, if you're here with me, just drop something in the chat so that I'm sure our network is good to go before I start talking my heart out and I realize that we've left something out. So if you're here and you can hear clearly, okay, excellent. I see some emojis coming in. Okay, so if you have questions as we go along, you can drop the question in the chat section. Then I will also attend to the questions that we get in the chat. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat as I answer the ones that came during the circulation of the message. So the first question that I was asked was that what has been the most rewarding part of my journey so far? What has been the most rewarding part of my journey? What has been the most rewarding part of my journey? I would say the most rewarding part of my journey has been seeing the lives of people being impacted. Seeing that people are being impacted, people's lives are being transformed because of my yes, because of my decision to be able to show up on LinkedIn, to be able to show up in the lives of other people. Because I believe that today is not just about the LinkedIn celebration, it's also equally about the progress that has gone on over the period. And anytime I make reference to this progress, I strongly believe that it is not just about me or the things that I've put out or the numbers. It's more about the people who have been impacted. So the most rewarding part of my journey seriously has actually been seeing the lives of people being impacted every time. Seeing the lives of people being impacted every time. For me to actually see people write testimonials, right, and people testify of how much this journey has been beneficial to them, that has actually been my pride and joy. So that has been one of the most rewarding aspects of my journey, to see that people keeps them going. But what has actually kept me going is just the impact, it's just the stories, it's just the lives of people. That has been my driving force, genuinely. Because sometimes when I come online and I see people share testimonials of how my encounter with them has transformed their lives, or how joining one of the boot camps have been such an amazing experience for them, that is my joy. That is my reward, right? So yeah, that's my answer to that question for the person who asked. I hope you are listening. Okay, so the next question was, how do you stay motivated when things get tough? I see you, Laurentia, you're welcome. How do I stay motivated when things get tough? So truth be told, things have actually gotten very tough at very different moments of my life. And when I talk about this is even so different from the fact that the work I do in terms of being a medical doctor, with its own events that happen. But I remember about 4 days ago, I was so unwell. I was so unwell, that it got so bad that for hours I was actually stuck in bed. I just couldn't move, I couldn't do anything, and that's just been a few days ago, right? So things have actually there have been so many instances where I could have given up. There have been times where the words of people will make certain comments, certain sarcastic comments, if I should use that word, and sometimes it really gets to you, right? But I always say that one thing that has kept me motivated to keep going, it's my why. It's my why. Jim Rohn says something that when you know your why, your how becomes easy. If you know your why, your how becomes easy. So I know why I do what I do. I do not show up and spend that much time on LinkedIn, teaching people about LinkedIn just for nothing, right? I do it because I believe there's something incredible about the platform that every single person can benefit. So that's why I keep doing what I do. That's why I keep showing up. That's why in the midst of work schedules and how things get tough, I still keep showing up. So anytime things get really tough, I go back and I remind myself of my why. I ask myself, Benis, why did you start this? Why did you decide to go ahead with this? So my why has kept me moving and moving and moving. It has just been that driving force for me, genuinely. So that is the first thing that has kept me motivated when things get tough. And my why is definitely closely related to my purpose, right? Because when I set out to do something, I first really sit down and ask myself, is this something that I am called to do? Is this something that God has convicted me to do? Right? There's something I shared on my status some days ago, that you cannot ChatGPT your calling. You cannot Google your calling. There's certain things that you are doing that must be led solely by the Holy Spirit. You must be convicted to take that step. In May 2024, when I decided to start teaching people about the power of LinkedIn, it wasn't because I had just seen other people do it. I did it because I clearly knew that this was the direction that God would have me take. So when things get difficult, I go back and I remind myself why I started. There's a tool that I teach most people in my one-on-one class, that anytime you're about to start a project, okay, and this is a free tip for all of you, anytime you're about to start a project, go and do a recording, whether an audio recording or a video recording, of why you are starting that project. Are you listening? Do an audio or video recording of why you are starting that particular project, so that when it gets to a point when things are tough, and this is not even just about projects, even when you're about getting married, you're about entering into a relationship, you're about traveling to a different country, you're about studying a new course, whatever it is, anytime you're about to venture into something different, anytime you're about to venture into a new season of your life, put down in writing, in audio and in video of exactly why you are doing what you are doing. Ask yourself, why are you starting this? Because see, oftentimes when you start a new project, within that time you are starting, the exuberance is there, the drive is there, the zeal is there. Do you understand? Like, the passion is there. But as time goes on, you realize that certain things will come up and that your passion can wane, your drive can go down. Like, so many things can actually come your way when things get tough. But if you have actually documented right from the start why you started, when things get tough, all you have to do is you just go back. You go back and you listen to that audio. You go back and you look at that video and you are reminded of why you started that journey. So always do that, and that is one of the things that have really helped me. So sometimes when I get any idea or anything, I just pick my phone and just do a recording of it. So when it gets to seasons where people are talking or people are saying something that is trying to bring me down, I go back and I listen to it and I tell myself, Bernice, this is why you started. The very first day when you started, this is why you actually started. So this is why you should not give up. Because when you started the very first time, this was what actually drove you to say that, yes, I'm doing this. Are you following? So if that thing is still echoing in your mind each and every single day, when things get difficult, you are not going to let it sway you, right? So that is why I really stay motivated when things get tough, because I know what I want. I know the heights that I'm looking at getting to. Until I get there, I'm not going to let anything or anyone stop me till the Lord says pause. Yeah. Okay, so if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I'll also be answering those questions. I'm answering the ones that came in our Google form collections. We had about 10 or 9 questions. Yeah, so I'll be answering those ones. But as you join in, if you have any questions, just feel free, drop it in the chat and I will answer them as well. We'll be launching our ebook very, very soon, so just stick and stay with me. Okay, so our next question says that what inspired you to start off your different ventures? These questions are a lot, like, different, and I like that. So what inspired me to start my different ventures? For those joining in and probably may not know some of the things I do. So I started being a medical doctor and also into business. I'm an entrepreneur. So one thing I do is I sell stews, soups, anything food related for individuals. If you also want us to do on a corporate level, we are there for you, right? And the name of the business is called All Special Bites. Special spells like special, but with the S being an X. So I see a lot of people call my business All X Special. It's not X Special, it's still All Special, but just that the S has been replaced with an X. So it's called All Special Bites. So All Special Bites was my very first business venture, and it actually started out of a passion. So during the COVID time, that was 2020, and before COVID, personally, I've been a lover of pastries. Like, I love pastries. Anything pastries, call me in. Like, I love pastries. So I decided during the COVID time, since we were at home and we had more time, that time I was still in school, but COVID, so we were all at home, we had broken off and all that. So I decided to use that time to start learning how to make pastries. So initially I wanted to learn with a woman who's a caterer, right? But because of the whole restrictions and the lockdown, you couldn't go to one place or the other to actually start. So then what happened? I still wanted to do this thing, so I decided to use YouTube. So YouTube, they always say it's one of the best social media universities, and I don't agree. I do not disagree. Yeah, that's it. Because YouTube was really an instrumental tool for me when I started out. So I started learning how to make pastries on YouTube. I'll download some of these videos and try them out, buy some of the ingredients with the support of family as well, and getting some of the ingredients, making them at home. And my mom too has a background in catering, so it helped to be able to buffer some of the areas. So progressively I started, of course, some failed attempts here, some very good attempts here. Then it got to a point I decided to start making spring rolls, because I really love and still love spring rolls a lot. So I decided to make spring rolls. So I started making them. But then again, it was during the COVID time, And going through the whole process of making spring roll, I felt that if every single time you want to make spring roll, you have to go through all the process of making the wrap, making the filling, it's a lot of time. So why don't I make it such that you can make the spring rolls in a frozen form, a raw form, and keep it in the freezer for it to be frozen. Whenever you want to fry, just store it and just fry it. And since it was COVID and a lot of people were at home, and some of these midday snacks will really come in handy. So that's how I started making them. And I remember my very first major client was my own sister, Frida. So she was doing a birthday celebration. I think that time the ban had been lifted off a bit. So she was doing this small family celebration for her birthday. I decided to make the spring rolls. People loved it. And I decided to just start a business out of it. So that's how the business started, All Special Bites. But progressively when school resumed, I realized that doing the pastries alongside, and then I had transitioned into my clinical years of medical school. So it was very difficult to be able to balance. So I had to hold off for a while. Then later when we came back, we were not doing the pastries anymore, but now we're doing more food. So now we do stews and soups, as I mentioned earlier. And with the support of my mom, it's been an incredible journey. There's been an incredible journey. So that's what we do. So that has actually, my inspiration for starting the food business was out of passion, because I love doing the pastries, and now we are doing the food. Now my second business I went to was All Special Apparel, where I started with fabrics. I love fabrics because I will go online and I will see people wear certain dresses and they look so nice. Like, I just loved the concept of fabric textures. Like, they look really nice. So I was like, okay, why don't I actually sell the fabrics by myself? Because the food business, it's as and when people need certain things and you make them in bulk. So if somebody is buying, it may take a while before a customer returns, or sometimes you get a new one. But for the fabrics, it's something that you can be doing in between. And my mom is also into that same space, right, of fashion designing and dressmaking. So it was easier for me. Oh, thank you. It was easier for me to be able to go into that line as well. So that's how I started the fabric business. Then progressively, when I got enough profit out of it, I didn't spend all the profit. I rather diversified, right, into starting sales of oil perfumes, because I figured if you are dressing well, you might as well smell good. So I started selling oil perfumes on the side while doing the fabrics. So that's how the apparel bits also came into place. Then progressively, when I became more active on LinkedIn, that is when I started my third venture, which is mentoring and coaching, which I've been doing for 15 months now. So that's actually been like a progress from one level to another, where you see something, you go by your passion, go by purpose, and you actually pursue it. So currently I'm doing my work as a medical doctor. I'm also into business, and I'm also into mentoring and coaching. So that has been my inspiration for starting my different ventures. More so because we are talking about LinkedIn, I'll just stress on that part a bit. I decided to go into LinkedIn coaching because when I started out on LinkedIn, I realized that a lot of people in the health sector were not so active on the platform. Like, you could barely see them come online, you could barely see them show up. And I felt, okay, why don't I begin to teach them how? Because when I started out, I was very much confused as to how to navigate. But by God's grace, the help of mentors like Mr. Kwesi York and Odamia Moakon, I was able to navigate my way. So I felt, why don't I also lend out that same helping hand to someone else to help them start their journey and make it better? So that's how that aspect of LinkedIn coaching also came about. I hope you're learning something from my journey so far. If you are, just be dropping these nuggets in the chat section, and if you have any question as well, just drop it and I'll attend to it. You just have 10 minutes, then we'll start our official ebook launch. Okay, so the next question is that how do I balance work with entrepreneurship? Okay, someone is asking how I balance work with entrepreneurship. So definitely, as you all know, the way the medical space is, definitely work takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, physically, mentally. Like, every aspect of you has to be invested, especially if you want to do well, you want to deliver the best of care to your patients. And definitely the arm of entrepreneurship also comes with a lot, right? So the first thing that's really helped me, I won't say the first, but one of the key things that have really helped me is a force of discipline. Because you have to discipline. That's why it all comes back to the very first thing, which is your why. That's why I gave that quote earlier, that if your why is strong, if you know your why, the how becomes easy. If you know why you are doing what, the how becomes easy, right? Futurist Kwame says something, that purpose makes pain bearable. Purpose, it makes the pain bearable. In that, if you are doing something and you don't know the purpose of that particular thing you are doing, you are not able to bear the pain. You are not able to bear the effects, the consequences that come up. But if you have the purpose, if you know exactly why you are doing what, when the pain and the tough situations come, you are able to bear it out. For example, a woman in labor, she goes through a lot of pain, physical pain, a lot of excruciating pain. The force of labor is so painful. But this woman never complains, even though she may complain, but she doesn't say that, no, I'm not going to, this baby should get stuck in my uterus, my belly. No, she keeps pushing and she keeps pushing. Why? Because she knows that she's about to birth forth. She's about to bring forth a child. So she's able to bear the pain because of the purpose of what she has in mind. So purpose makes the pain bearable. So sometimes if you are complaining about something you are doing too much, you should go back and check the purpose. If you are always complaining too much, I'm using the word too much because sometimes certain things may hit you. You may talk in one way or the other. But if you are consistently complaining about something every day, you are whining and you are whining and you are whining, you should go back and find out exactly the purpose of that thing you started. Because if you really define the purpose, if you define what exactly the purpose of that thing is, you'll be able to tolerate the pain. You'll be able to tolerate the pain. There are days where even in my work as a doctor, you go to work, you are tired physically, you are drained, and you can give any excuse. You can actually say something, right, and choose not to even show up. But what happens? You remember the lives that are at stake. You remember the people that can get better because of you showing up at the workplace. So that purpose of helping people, that purpose of tending to the sick will make the pain bearable. Purpose makes the pain bearable. So that's how it is. So if you always know the reason why. I know the reason why I started business. I know the reason why I started LinkedIn coaching. So anytime things come up, I know how to balance out time. I have time I use for fun, watch a movie, catch up with friends, whatever. But I have time that I have to sit down and get to work. Writing this ebook was not easy, right? Very soon I'll be putting out the ebook for you all to read. It wasn't an easy journey because there are days where you come back and you are exhausted. My laptop here and we've gone through a lot. There are days where you're exhausted, but you have put down a calendar that today I'm completing this chapter, so I have to get up and complete it. I remember, if you read the book, in the 4th chapter, I wrote something that I was writing a certain chapter at 1:07 a.m. 1:07 a.m. I was up writing, and I wanted to make the book very concise because of the nature of the book, the theme. Because the theme of the book is 5 things I wish every student knew about LinkedIn before graduation. So I didn't want it to be so bulky, but I still wanted it to contain every single information that every student would ever, in the next decade, will pick this book and still gain something very useful from the book. So I had to make sure that I was putting down all those concrete information, editing. Oh my God, I can't remember the number of times I've edited and read over, to the point that I can literally read some of the chapters out myself because I went through and through to make it concise yet profound. So discipline is one of the driving force, and of course I cannot leave out support when I'm talking about balancing. Because sometimes people see what I'm doing and feel like, hey, do you have any superpower? I don't have any superpower. I don't have any superpower. Right? It's just support, because I have a very strong support system, right from family. Even the business I do, the food business, I don't work alone. I work with my mom, I work with my sisters, with my siblings, right? So it's all about the support system. It's all about how you let people buy into your vision. And one thing I know, that anytime God gives you a vision, He gives you the support. And the support is not just finance, it's also in the people. Because even when Jesus was doing His ministry, He needed people. He needed people to support Him. He couldn't, on earth, He was not omniscient. He was not everywhere. Sorry, He was not omnipresent. He was omniscient, but He was not omnipresent. He was not, you won't find Jesus in Galilee at the same time in Samaria. When He was on earth, He could have been at one place at one time. So He needed to devise a support system of people who could actually replicate what He was doing. So He had disciples. Now let's look at what happened to Jesus after when He left. It became so strong that, see, if Jesus had not actually harnessed the power of his disciples, when he had ascended, the message could have been lost. We wouldn't have been saved. But he was able to harness that. And that's one thing that every mentor, for you to call yourself a successful mentor, you should be able to see the fruits of replicity. It's not easy. Replicity in the lives of your people. You must see that the people that you are mentoring, they can replicate, right? They can replicate what you are teaching them over and over again, with or without your presence. That is when you can see that you are actually being a successful mentor. Yeah, so very, very important. Discipline is key, and support is key. And the next thing has been the grace of God, genuinely, because girl, some of the things I do, I don't really know how I do them. I really do not know how I do some of the things I do, but it's just been by the grace of God. Because sometimes I lie down like, hey, how are you doing this and that and that and that and that and that? Because currently I have this YouTube channel. Right, if you are listening, you have not subscribed, oh yeah, subscribe fast. I'm starting a new YouTube channel which is going to be solely Christian-based content. It's called The Father's Delight. Right, The Father's Delight. So I have that as well. I started building my presence on TikTok. Of course, we are still on LinkedIn. We are doing our LinkedIn coaching as well. So we'll be having the very last. And yeah, there's a question someone asked me, is my LinkedIn coaching? Why am I doing my very last LinkedIn coaching in September when we still have months ahead of us? So now, let me spill that beans. I know there's another question about that, but since we are there, let me just talk about it. So last year, I did 7 cohorts from May till the end. I did 7 cohorts. This year, I've done 5. Now, I decided to round off because there is something we call the Creator's Radar. I like to use the word radar. I was going to use another word, but I'll use radar. The Creator's Radar is something that you have to be very mindful about. The Creator's Radar. So it's not just enough. I could say that I'm doing a cohort every month and people will sign up. I'll get the money. It's not about the money. But I make sure that every time I am putting out a cohort, I am mentally, physically prepared to pour out. So I won't just come up and say, oh, okay, let's just come. I'm doing cohort. If you're interested, come. Then because I am not mentally psyched up for it, I deliver less. So I believe that this cohort is that season where we are pouring out into this last set of people. Then we are retreating for the rest of the month to be able to prepare for what's ahead in 2026. So that's why I'm rounding off my cohort in September. I know there's October, there's November, there's December. Right, but that is why I'm rounding off my cohort. It's because I don't just want to come and say I'm doing cohorts and just get the money. No, I do because every single person who has passed through my cohort, and I don't say this to boast, but every single person who has ever passed through my cohort has felt that change. And that change has not just been because of the sessions we have in the evening. It's been because of the spiritual preparations I make for my cohort members. I pray for my cohort members. I pray for my one-on-one people. Like, I pray. If I say I pray they get opportunities, I pray they grow, I pray the expectations I met. So I make sure that anytime I'm setting out to do another course, I am spiritually and physically and mentally fit to go through that cycle. Because as I pour out every time, something leaves me. And if you are into this space of mentoring, you understand this better. For me, because of how intensive I am with my coaching, anytime I coach people, I pour out, I feel something is leaving me. So I don't just jump into another cohort when I have not been replenished. I make sure that I am fully replenished. So we finished cohort 5 on the 3rd of August, and we are starting again next month. That's been a whole month. So I take that time off to refill, to replenish, so that when I go back and I'm giving to another sector of people, they are not short of anything. They even get more than the previous cohort. So that's why I'm rounding off my cohort in September. So for those of you who asked about it, that is it. If you want to be a part of the course, you can reach out to me. But after September, I'm not doing any LinkedIn Elevation Bootcamp. If there's any other thing I'm doing, probably maybe invitations from other people organizing other classes. But personally, my last class is the LinkedIn Elevation Bootcamp cohort 6 for this year. Okay. Wow. I love how the conversation is going. I see you all. I see you, Laurentia. I see you, Exams. I hope I got the name right. Yeah, if you have a question, please drop it in the chat and I would answer it in a bit. Okay, so I'm going to be quickly running through the other questions because the most important just our ebook launch, as you can see, is coming off soon. Okay, so the next question is that what's one lesson you wish you had learned earlier? Hey, let me think about this for a second. What's one lesson I wish I had learned earlier? I wish I had learned that people's opinions do not have power over me. I've learned that, but maybe I learned it a bit later on in my journey. Because trust me, I've always been the type of person where I used to really, really, really think about what people thought about what I was doing, right? Like, I could be doing something, somebody says this, and all of a sudden it's like I'm changing my mind, right? And I believe that it held me back from doing certain things. It held me back from taking certain initiatives because of what I felt people were going to say. So I wish I had not given people so much opinion over me. I think that's the first thing I'm going to say. I wish I had not given them so much authority over me. But I thank God. I believe that some of these things are for the learning, right? Sometimes they are for the learning, and I've really learned that the good and the hard way. So yeah, we say opinions are like noses, but sometimes we are literally breathing through their noses because we are caring so much about what they are thinking about. So if you believe that God has called you to do something, just start, just do it. That's it. The next question is, how do you manage being multi-passionate without losing focus? Whoa. I like this question. How do I manage being multi-passionate without losing focus? So I believe that I'm very passionate about a lot of things, but I've realized that they are all intersected. Actually, because even I'm very passionate about mentoring. So for those of you who know or may not know, I started this network. I've not really put it out there so much because I'm not just looking for the crowd. So I started the Campus Success Network, and I started because it's a network just for undergraduate students, irrespective of your location. I started because when I was in university, I wish I had someone who was like way ahead of me, always coaching me, always mentoring me, and all that. So that's why I started the Campus Success Network. So currently it's on a Telegram-based network. So we are solely on Telegram. I think currently we have 78 people in that page, and I'm so excited about that number because sometimes you have a group and you have so many people, but they do not show up. So I'm grateful to have such a number, so that I can actually work around it. So yeah, I'm passionate about a lot of things, but most of them are interconnected because if I'm doing LinkedIn mentoring and coaching, it's still back to my mentoring and coaching because I really love to teach. Those who know me, I taught before I started medical school. I taught for a while before I started medical school. So I really love teaching, seriously. Like, I love to teach. I love to pour out to people. I love to, give out. And I remember when I was in secondary school, I was a really shy, timid, introverted person, extremely. And I believe that God evolved me to the person I am now because He saw where I was going. Yeah, so that's how God works. He changes us from one personality to another because of the mandate that is ahead. So teaching has been a great passion for me. So it still comes back to it. Being a doctor there has been like an age-stone passion. So it has just kept me going. So I feel that most of the things I'm doing with the Campus Success Network, my holistic medic, it all comes back to mentoring and coaching. So it's not so much of diverse passions. It still comes back to one particular point. Yeah. So without losing focus, I would say it's just the purpose. Seriously, purpose there is something you have to really define. Anytime I set out to do something, I sit down and ask myself, why am I doing this? And what will happen if I do not do it? I don't just ask myself why. I ask myself, why not? Why am I doing it? And what will happen if I do not do it? Yeah. So those are the two arms of what I do. So I ask myself, what will happen if I do not do it? So then if I'm able to define, if I say, nothing will happen if I do not do it, then you don't stand to lose anything. But if I'm able to define that if I do not do this, this will happen, it keeps me focused because I know that the odds could be negative if I do not do it. So that has been the balance for me. Okay, I'll take the last two questions. What advice would you give to someone just starting out in business? Oh, start early. Start early, learn early, like start early enough. See, the road to wealth making or wealth building is a long journey, right? The road to you making wealth is a very long journey. It's a long journey. It's a long journey for you to be wealthy in terms of physical cash and every other spiritual wealth. Everything is a long journey. So the earlier you start, the better your advantage. Please, you get it. So I will say that to anybody listening who wants to start business, start early enough. You give yourself the advantage of learning, of time, because so many things change per time. Do you understand? So many things change per time. But if you are able to start early enough, you are able to learn on the job, you're able to make mistakes. So that's the first thing I was saying. A lot of people are so fixated that I don't have a name for my business. I don't have a name for my business. That's why I've not started. See, businesses don't just thrive by the names. And some people have built a business. They have a very good name, but it's not what Lauricia said. Dr. Josephine, you're late. Yeah, so some people have certain businesses and they have a very solid name, but their impact is not living beyond their name. And I pray for anybody listening that may you build a business beyond a name. It's not just enough to have a nice name for your business. You have to be able to build a business beyond the name. That's the most important thing. That you are able to get dividends, profits, impact beyond just the name. Because if you have the nicest of names and you're not getting anything out of it, then you understand. So a lot of people are fixated. They're not starting their business because I don't have a nice name. I've not registered a business. I've not done this. Just start early. That would be my advice for anyone starting out in business. Sit down. Bible says that nobody who intends to build a house doesn't first sit down to count the cost. So yes, sit down and count the cost, but start early. Start early. That's what I'm going to say. Okay, so the last question, or maybe I'll combine this. How do you deal with setbacks or failures, and what role has community and collaboration played in your growth? Okay, so how do I deal with setbacks? I would say that I've really had some setbacks in my life, actually. So maybe some of you may not know, but I'm going to share this here today. When I completed medical school, I was rejected from. When I completed secondary school, I was rejected twice in my pursuit to start medicine. Yeah. Twice, so not once that I will cry and go and sleep. Twice. I was rejected twice in my pursuit of starting medical school. And that season of my life, oh my God. I just thank God. Because when I was in school, like in secondary school, I was a very smart lady. I still am, but I was very smart. I won awards. I remember in SHS2, I won the overall best student and the best general science student. I topped my class. The only time I ever dropped was second. I was second just once in the whole of secondary school. Every other term I was first. And take this from somebody who was holding a lot of positions in medical school. What do I mean? I was UTM. UTM was a singing group of Scripture Union in SHS. I was UTM organizing secretary. I was a prep prefect. I was Crazy for Christ hall rep. I was the PENSA president. Are you listening? I was doing all this and at the same time topping my class. That should tell you that God gave me grace. I'm not saying this to boast, but I'm saying this to make a point that I was good. So my teachers had a lot of expectations. Lauricia, the frustration was serious. I just want to get here on this call, but it wasn't an easy moment of my life, actually. So my teachers were so expectant. I remember when I was filling my awaiting form, was my chemistry teacher, Chase, that's what I used to call him. He even helped me fill it together with my EMAS teacher, Mr. Free. Because everybody knew that when this was getting straight into medical school, Yeah, but it so happened that it didn't happen that way. I remember that time, I wasn't using a phone right after SHS, so the time I got access to a phone, I don't know, a lot of my friends got my contacts. Sorry. A lot of my friends got my contacts. They were calling to find out. I remember one time I was teaching and a friend of mine called me. A friend of mine called me and asked me which hall in K University that I am at. She wants to come and visit me. And that time I was holding a chalk on the blackboard teaching junior high school students maths and science. So when she called that time, I just didn't know what to say. That day just broke me. And progressively, the second year, I was declined again. It got to a point, I remember I told somebody that no matter what, I'm doing medicine. Like, no matter what. No matter the number of times people say no, I will keep. Like, I look back and I ask myself, Bernice, who gave you such doggedness? Who gave you, like, such resilience to say that till you get to medical school, you're not giving up? I just look back and I know that maybe if I had been now, probably, I don't know, I could have even gone for another course because I got very, very good courses. But I don't know what happened at that time. I was just so confident. Like, I just knew exactly what I had to do, that no matter what, I'm doing medicine. No matter what, I want to become a doctor. Like, no, that thing was so there. I remember I told somebody, if it takes me even 10 years till I get to medical school, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. And by God's grace, finally, after 2 rejects, I got in. Don't you ask a question that, do you think God was teaching me a lesson? Yes. And see, I look back and I thank God so much for that period of my life, because that was when that drive for teaching, for mentoring started. That was where it started. I believe that God sent me there to learn some of these things, how to teach people, how to be patient, how to see people grow. Because to teach a student, you have to wait to the end of the term to see the results. You don't see the results there and then. You don't see the results there and then. So God was teaching me during that period. About some weeks ago, one student I taught is currently in the US. He won an award. He sent me the video. He was like, Dr. Bernice, thank you. Thank you so much for those days where you kept encouraging me. And I was like, if hearing something, it took me 2 rejections to hear something like this. God, it is worth it. God, it is worth it. You had this in plan. Thank you. So it was a difficult time, but I will never regret those 2 years of my life. I will never regret it. And today here we are with the doctor. Yeah, almost 2 years into clinical practice, and by God's grace, it's going so well. It's been the best experiences of my life. Yeah, so that is how it has been. Wow, I see the feedback from Tina. The Lord will make it happen for you in the name of the Lord. Whoever has been waiting on something for long, that is not happening. I pray that the Lord should make it happen for you in the name of the Lord Jesus. May the Lord make it happen for you. May the Lord give you the strength to stand. That's the most important thing. But he said at the end of the day, may we be found standing. May the success or the win not come. And when it comes, you are not standing. Some people get certain heights now. They've won everything they ever wanted in life, but they are no longer standing. They've lost their faith. But I pray that may your faith be strong at the end of the battle. I pray that for you. Yeah. So that's how I dealt with setbacks. It's just that I look back and I say it's just God, because I don't know how I pulled through that season of my life. Looking back, I just don't know how, but it was just God. Yes, and it was definitely worth it. Thank God. The last question here is, what are my future goals and where do I see myself in the next 5 years? Before I answer that question, I want to introduce all of you to my ebook, my very first ebook. So why did I choose to write this ebook? It comes back to my drive for LinkedIn. Like, I love LinkedIn. I love the platform, regardless of how many likes I get on a post, whatever happens, the celebration, the not celebration, no matter what happens, I love LinkedIn. And I've always been passionate about people stepping out on LinkedIn. especially students. If people know me, they know that one of my mega classes last year was the Med Students LinkedIn Tribe. I had over 86 people sign up for that class. But progressively, I encounter students who want to start out their journey on LinkedIn, and they do not know, is LinkedIn even for me? Am I even supposed to be on LinkedIn? How should I even go about it? So, and anytime I get, it's almost every week, I'm speaking to a student about LinkedIn is this, it's not that. And I felt that, why do I not put all this information into one book, right? So that instead of me talking about this maybe one meeting at a time, one webinar at a time, if I have a book that contains all of these insights at any time, even if a student wants to know about LinkedIn and I am not there, they can still pick the book and they still know about it. Even if they don't know me, then they get to see the book. It still echoes to them, right? So that is why I decided that I'm going to write this book, to be able to put it out there and to help students to be able to get this information. So the title of the book, I hope you can all see it, is 5 Things I Wish Every Student Knew About LinkedIn Before Graduation. Can I see your joy with me? Finally. The title of my very first ebook is 5 Things I Wish Every Student Knew About LinkedIn Before Graduation. That is the very first ebook. And it's a very concise book, a very simple book, and I would want every single person to get a copy to read. Genuinely, the insights in those books, in that book, is not just for students. Even though some chapters are tailored to students, there is something there that is for every single person. So if you are here, whether you are a student or you are not, I want you to get yours. Now, I'll be dropping the link in the chat in a second. So Josephine, if you can hear me, let's drop the link to the ebook in the chat section. This is our launch. We are launching this book. And when we talk about launch, every single person must get a copy. So I want all of you to get a copy of this book. And I'll just talk a bit about the details of the book. As I said earlier, it contains 5 key things that initially I want to make it everyone, but I'm tailoring it as well. I tailored it. You couldn't get the title. I tailored it to students because of what I was talking about. Yeah, but funny now, yeah. So get your copy before my English leaves me. Yeah, so